On Mondays for IGCE, we're on Unit 0, and the topic is about imports. Okay? So, what are imports? What does this word imports mean there, Yuna? Have you heard this word imports? What does this mean? If you import something into China or abroad, what does import mean? Yeah, if you import something into China, what does that mean? Yeah, it means to get something outside, right? And we call these libraries. What's a library, Carol? What is a library? Have you heard about it? What is a library? You know what a library is? Where books, right? But in this case, you have many books is means very many different information, right? Okay, so we're going to talk about a random function. Um, so what do imports allow you to do? Imports allow you to use other people's code. And so if you code, I can import your code into my code. Okay? And so it's really useful. And just to, if you look on the whiteboard, what happens is when you have import, the keyword is called import. Okay? Let's just open up Python. Okay? So the keyword is import. Import means to get. And Python has some other code inside different modules. Okay, so for example, import random. And I'm going to run this. And it looks like it didn't do anything. It's Konja. But did it do something? It did. It inserted code called random. And that's like a function. Okay? And so I can use that function now. For example, I can say print random. That's the imported function's name, the library's name. And then when you put dot, this is a function within it. Watch, I put dot. And if I click on that dot, let me go back. It actually has different functions there. So for example, random int. I think it's called rand int. And 0, comma that. Okay, so you can have a try to type this in your own on your own computers and have a run. And this should, it has randint is not a function. I think it's random int. But what we can do is you can go online and have a look. What are the functions within random library? Because they have a whole bunch of different functions. For example, they have, here it's called rand int. It gives you an integer. We have a random range. We have get random bits. We have a choice. And so you see there's many different functions, and you can look online about what the other people code, and then you can use it. So I'm going to use the library called random, and in it, it says we do have this thing, a function called rand int, and it returns a random integer between A and B. So that's what I want to do. I'm going to, so rand, I forgot the D, and a random number between 0 and 100. Let's see and run if this works. 82 is a random number. Agree? If I rerun it, let's see if the function is 63. So the function is working. Did I code the random function? No, I didn't. Okay? And so this is, what does the import do? Let's review there, Carol. What does the import do? What does this line of code do? What does import do? Yeah, it gets code outside my code. And we call those codes what? Random is what? You go to where to get information there, Yuna? Xiaoshama? The very first thing is called a... When you import the code, it's called a... Look on the whiteboard. You go to the 图书馆 in English. It's a library. What is a library? It's someone else's code, okay? And then within the book, we have this dot. What does this dot do there, Carol? Dot random. So this is called the library. This is called like the book. And then inside a function, you have what? What do we call the different components inside a function? Do you know? This is called a module or a function within it, okay? So you have a library dot the module name, okay? For example, he can do different things. For example, he can do it in a random range, or he can do some math, okay? So library is basically a function, and then within that function, we put a dot, the module name, and that's what he can do, okay? So for example, this module's name is called randint. It generates a random number. Okay, here's an example of using randint module within the library called random. Now, if I do not import random, let's say I get rid of this code, will this function work? If I don't import the code, and I hit run, do you think it's going to work? Let's have a try. It says error, random not defined. And so to use a function, what is the very first thing you have to do? You must do what? What is this? You must import it. That means it's going to pull that code from outside into my code. Okay, I don't know what they did. And Carol, how can I find the different modules inside random? How can I find out what that library contains? Where do I go to find out how to use it? How do I know this module's name? Where can I go to search? You can go on to the, you can go to a website and just say, what are modules in the library random in Python, okay? You can Google it, and you can find some website, right? So it has different methods or modules like shuffle, choice, uniform, okay? And then it has a whole bunch, okay? So these are different modules there. And then you can click, you can do some research. See, look at it says import random. That's the very first thing you do. You import the function's name, and then you go random dot get state, and then it kind of gives you an example. Okay. Now, in the test, the two functions that they use is on Pseudocode. They use capital called random. So on the test, they just go random with the bracket, and then they can put the two integers there. It's a imuya, but they use capital letters, okay? There's also some math function, the shushe. The math functions right here. For example, let's say I want to do math. Does Python have exponents? Not really. And pi, pi is 3.14. We can import a math function. So let's go back to your code. Where's Python here? We can import as many functions as you want. Import math, right? Let's say we're doing some shushe, we're doing some math, right? And then I want to print math, it's a library name, and then you can search online, what can math do? Well, math.py is a function there. It should give me 3.14. So let's have a try and see if that function works. Math.py. If I hit run there, Carol, what do you think is going to print to the screen right here using this math function? What is pi? Okay, let's have a try and see if you're right. It worked. You see? I didn't have to. That's really useful. Instead of putting 3.1415926, I can just use functions. It's so much easier. Okay? I don't need to code. Again, step one. When you're doing functions, step one is to import. So number one is import. Step two, what do I have to do? How do I use a module within a within an import or a library? You know, after you import dir2, what can I do? What is this? You need to do some research to find out the names of the different things he can do. Okay, and you have to use the dot. So the dibu is to import it. Diarbu is to use some module there. Okay, you have to use the dot thing. Okay, so the second thing is put the function name, the library name, dot the module. Okay, so that's how to use a function, how to use a import function. Cool. So that's the very first part. First part is how to use random, okay? And math. We can also have round. I think math.round maybe is a function too. So let's say here, I'm going to research because one of the things that it can do is this thing called floor. Floor is like rounding. If you have two integers that are floats, it has too many decimal. We can change it into an integer. We call it floor. So math.floor the integer, and it will delete the decimals. Okay, and that's basically rounding down. So let's have a try and do that. Okay, go into Python, and I have pi. But if I want to round that, I can go print math. How do I round down there? What is the function name there, Carol? What was it called again? It's called floor. Returns the highest integer. So let's say I want 3.14 into an integer. It should just be 3. Right? So I can go math dot. What is the module's name? Carol, have a look. What is his name? It's called floor. So let's go back to here and dot floor. And look at this. I'm going to put pi within him. So this function is 3.14 blah, blah, blah. If I floor it there, Carol, what is this going to output? Math.floor, and then inside that I put pi. What is rounding down of pi? 3.14. I want you to round it into an integer. What is the answer? This one is going to be 3.14 whatever, right? What does this function do? What does floor do? Floor, it rounds to, it deletes this and it makes it in, this is a float. It makes it in an int. An integer cannot have decimals. So Yuna, 3.14, if I delete this, what is the answer? What is the integer? It's just 3. It's a whole number. Let's see if we're correct. So if I hit run, look, the very first one, it's doing 3.14. Agree? And then the second thing, it says 3. Why did it say 3? Is because this thing, it rounded down. Okay? So let's just put right here. This is for Python. In pseudocode, on the call sheet. In pseudocode, the random function, they have to use this thing is called random. It's dash it. You just go random, and then you put bracket, you put AV. This will give you a random integer, okay? This is how you round down in Python. You can use a math function. But on the exam, can I use math.floor there, Carol? We can't use Python. So how do we do it on the exam for it's going to be rounds. That's yeah, rounds. Okay. So math.floor becomes round. This is going to round down to an integer, and then you can put your let's have a look. Let's have a look here. Round right here. It has your variable, and then you put comma, the number of decimal places. So if I put 0, it means 0 decimal place. If I put 1, it means it's going to have 3.1. If I put 2, it would get 3.14, right? It'll have 2 decimal place. Canada? So let's just put that into the code so that we're okay. So round, it goes the variable and then the decimal places. Okay. And so if I wanted to round down an answer, you would put the variable's name and then how many decimal places. For example, 0 means no decimal. 1 means 1 decimal place. 2 means 2, dun dun. Okay. So part 2, how to make your own function. Okay, we're going to make our own library. Can we do that? Do you guys have this copy done? You're okay? So I'm going to go new file, and the last part is how can you make your own import function? Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to make a file called support.py. Py is Python. And then I'm going to make a function that's just going to say hello. And then I'm going to import my function in. So I'm going to have 2 files. Okay. So on your own computers, I want you to we're going to make a library. Okay. Make a function called print name. Okay. Put bracket. I'm just going to put name in here and print my name is, and we'll put name. Can you girls do that? I want you to make a new file. We're going to make a function just to print a name. And then what you're going to do is Baotrin, go file, save as. And we're going to save this as support.py. Py is the extension for Python. Support.py. I'm going to Baotrin. Okay? Do you have that done? 我是有等你. Okay. So what right now you should on your computer have a function's name called support. Within that function, we just are making we're making a module name. Okay, so this is the library. The library's name is equal to the file name called support.py. And then within it, this is a function within the library. So a function within the library is called a module. And this module name is called print name. Are you ready for the magic? After I'm going to hit save. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to go a new file. So this is someone else's code. I'm going to import that code into my code. Okay? So watch this. Can you just watch the PPT? I'm going to go import, and I'm going to use someone else's code. I'm going to use the code I have here. I go support. Okay? That's going to import this within my code, but you can't see it. And then I'm going to use it. Watch. I'm going to use this function here. I'm going to print support, that's the library name, dot the module name. I'm going to call it print name. And then here, you're going to write your own name. I'm going to put my name, Mr. Newson. But look at this. Carol, I'm only importing this. This is what we have here. You don't know what's going on, but we can see that this is the library that I created. I'm importing that code. It should work, even though this code is not here. Do you think it's going to work? Let's have a try. So I'm going to save this as importation, okay? And I'm going to run, and it should print, my name is Mr. Newson. If it works, we should be successful here. And this is making our own module. Oh my goodness. It says my name is Mr. Newson. But how did it say my name? It's because I'm importing a function that I made. This is how you can create a library. Cool. So Carol's so tired. Let's just review again about what imports are, what they're useful. We talked about how we can use someone else, and we showed you how you can use your own functions, create your own functions as well. Okay, and then your scorework's there. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you girls some questions, and then just to verify that we learn. What does the import random do, Carol? What does import random do? If I put this in Python, what does it do? It imports a module or library. Carol? Does it import a library? How's your module? It does a library. Very good. Now, if I have a library name with the dot there, Una, what does the information after the dot mean? So I have a library name. This is my library. And then a dot. What does the dot, after the dot, what is this? It's like a function within my code that you can call. Okay, look right here. Where's my code here? See, def. What does def mean? It means function. And I have a function called print name. And so the module name would be support dot print name. You see? Whatever this function's name is, that would be after the dot. Okay? Cool. House point. Why not just copy the code? Watch this. You know how I made this function here, and then I import him? Why not just put the code here? +1 HP. Why not just, instead of importing, why not just find the other people's code and pop it into my code? Who can answer this question? Why import someone's code? Why not just copy their code and copy and paste it in here? What do you think there, Una? Why use Why use imports? Why not just copy others' code? We have E on the Jaguar, right? Because I can just copy this right here and pop it into this right here. We had the same answer. So why would I import the someone else's code? What's the purpose of imports? I could just find the random code, right? And 复制 and then 放进去. But what will this do? What is the powerful thing about imports? Look at this code. Whose code looks better? If I had a whole bunch of functions, can you 想一想, why not just copy? What do you think? What would happen if the other person's code is really, really long and I pop it in my code. What's going to happen to my code? It's going to become messy. You're right. It's going to be 太长. And so just with import, I can import a whole bunch of functions and it's not going to make my code messy. Can we write that down? So that's basically the conclusion. Carol, can you just explain what we just said? What is the important thing about imports? What does it do for me? It makes it so our code's not what? The import, it makes it so my code doesn't get too much garbage in there. It's more clean, right? Otherwise, you're going to have a whole bunch of code at the beginning of your code. It makes your code more simple. It makes your code more compact and easy to read. Otherwise, if you have too much code, it's 太难 to find 东西, right? If I copy a whole bunch of information, but if you just import it, then I can use the different functions in someone else's code. Cool? Okay, your questions. Any questions so far? I think 明白? I'm going to, okay. So our practice schoolwork, I want you guys to go into unit number 0, and then I'll come and help if you need. And I want you to click on 0.11. Okay? This is your schoolwork / homework for imports. And I want you have to import random. For example, there's different level. Generate a random number between 1 and 10. Well, how to do that? You need to import random. And then you can try to do these tasks here. There's different levels. So if you are new, you can start at level 1. Or you could start level 2. You just try equal level. And then after you're done, I want you to copy and pop it into your programming homework tab. Okay? So you should have 0.9, 0.10, and then you will paste your code right in here, and then I will mark that. Cool? Great. Okay, any questions online? Let's have a look. No questions online? Okay, so I'll stop. Carol, don't sleep.